Good afternoon, all. How are you? Hope everybody enjoy our Salah holiday. We'll continue our class today. First, we'll start with electrical and fire hazard and safety management. And today, we'll be looking at overview of safety model. We'll be looking at overview of safety model. We know that one of the key things about hazard when it comes to electricity, it's how it affects us. But before anything affects us, we need to make precautions and make preparation for it. So today, our topic will be overview of the safety model. What must be done to be safe? If you want to feel safe, what are you going to do to feel safe? So in trying to be safe, there are 3 stages of safety model. The first stage is recognize. The second stage is evaluate. The third stage is control the hazard. The first stage, you must recognize the hazard. The second stage, you must evaluate the hazard. The third stage, you must control the hazard. So these are the 3 stages of safety model when it comes to hazard analysis. You recognize the hazard, you evaluate the hazard, and you now control the hazard. So to be safe, you must think about your job and the plan for the hazard. You have your job, and before you carry out the job, you think that, okay, how can I be saved when carrying out this job? So for you to know how to do the job and perform the job safely, you need to plan. So in planning, to avoid injury, to avoid death, you must understand and recognize the hazard. There is a proverb in Yoruba that says, what you don't know cannot is what can kill you. But what you know, what you have knowledge of, one should not be able to die of it. So you must understand and recognize hazard. So when you recognize and understand hazard, the next thing you do is you evaluate the hazard. You evaluate the hazard, how strenuous, how dangerous the hazard is. How strenuous, how dangerous the hazard is. So the first thing is you must recognize the hazard. The second one is you evaluate the hazard. And the third one is you control the hazard. The first one is you recognize the hazard. This is an hazard. After recognizing the hazard, you now evaluate the hazard. Is it a minimum hazard? Is it a medium hazard? Or is it a maximum hazard? After that, you know what? How do I control this hazard? So these are the 3 basic mode. So let's go to the first one. The first one is recognizing an hazard. The first one is recognizing an hazard. The first part of safety mode is recognizing the hazard around you. You cannot control an hazard or you cannot eliminate an hazard if you don't recognize it. What you don't know will kill a person. What you don't know will quickly kill you. But if you know that this thing is dangerous, this thing is hazardous, this thing is something that can kill me, you have recognized it as what? As an hazard or a potential to kill. So immediately you recognize it that is a potential to kill, that has solved the first problem. Recognizing an hazard is the first thing to do. Sometimes we take risk ourselves, but when we are responsible for others, we are more careful. You know, if you are going to help somebody, you'll be telling them, please don't walk in that place. So that place is wet. That place, that plank is not strong enough. This, because you are helping the person to recognize the hazard. But if we wanted to pass the road, we just pass the road, we will not be careful. So most of the time, others see hazard that we overlook. Many people don't understand the hazard around them. We often overlook most of the hazard we fall into until people point the hazard to us. Oga, this your tire is I think you need to change your tire. Okay, you need to gauge your tire. People recognize the hazard for us more than ourselves. So it is possible to talk about our concern by someone who is reckless or dangerous. When somebody is driving, you can quickly, that man is driving is reckless, is driving is rough, because you are quickly able to work to recognize and understand the hazard. But the man that is driving is confident. I'm a senior driver, I'm an expert driver. He did not recognize this as an hazard. He just believes in himself. He believes in his confidence that, yes, I can put through this, I can do this. So the first thing for you to do is to what? Recognize an hazard. So after recognizing an hazard, we have seen that this is an hazard. It's something that can kill me. It's something that can cause harm. It's something that can cause injury. So what do? You evaluate it. You evaluate it. When evaluating as hazard, it is best to identify any possible hazard first, then evaluate the risk of injury from each of the hazards. We should not assume that the risk is low until when we do what? When we evaluate it. Never assume that the risk is low until what? We evaluate it. It is dangerous to overlook an hazard. Don't ever overlook any hazard, whether small, whether few, or anything. We should not overlook any hazard. Job sites are especially dangerous because they are always dangerous. If you work in a construction site, or you work in a place where there are a lot of people working together, you can see that when you come today, you see that somebody has put an object here, somebody else has put something there. Different things are always there. So the first thing is that, okay, this is not what you met yesterday. The was not here, the iron was not here, this was not there. So that enables you to evaluate that, I may fall prey to this, I may have problem with this, I may have issue with this. So you must evaluate the hazard properly. Also, many people are working. A responsible and reasonable person will work in a place that is very, very safe and is very, very plain. If you are working, let me give us an example. If you are driving on the road, you are the only one that know that your car is roadworthy. The person in your front, the person at your back, you don't know the condition of their brake. You don't know the condition of their vehicle. So that's why they tell you, when you are driving, leave a distance, minimum of 5 meters or 10 meters to the next vehicle, because you don't know, the vehicle can just stop at any time. So, but because you have calculated, you have evaluated the hazard that this man can stop anytime without giving me notice. Some drivers, they won't show any indicator. They will just park. But if you don't give a distance, what happens? You will hit them. But because you have evaluated that anybody driving in my front, anything can happen. Some people, they have heart attack while they are driving. Some people will just have panic while they are driving. But if you don't have that conscious mind that something can happen to another person that is driving, let me give the person a distance, you will just what? You just ram a vehicle against the person. The third one is you control the hazard. So, like the example I was giving now, you gave a 5 meter difference between you and the car in your front. Immediately you find out that the car just stopped. What will you do? You press your brake. Because you have put it at the conscious mind that driver can stop at any time. You have evaluated it. You recognize the hazard by saying, a vehicle is in my front. This man that is driving in my front, his hand is not straight. He's just driving, he's slowing down, driving is slowing down. You have been able to recognize that something is likely that something is happening to this man. It's either that this man is drunk or this man is sleeping on his steering. So you have recognized the hazard. So because you recognize the hazard, instead of you to give the man 2 meters, you decided to give him 7 meters. People at your back are pressing on. This man, move now, bumper to bumper, bumper to bumper. You did not listen to them. But immediately the man stopped. Because you have recognized the hazard, the way the man was driving at some distance, you quickly match your brake. So you are unable to hit the person in the front. But other people that are driving forward to you, they ram into you. And they cause an accident. They will automatically pay for your vehicle damage. Because you are not the one that caused the accident. You are not the one that stopped abruptly. But because you have the ability to recognize that the person driving in your front is not in a stable condition driving properly. So what you are able to do, you recognize the hazard, you evaluate that this man that is driving in my front, he can stop anytime. And immediately he stop anytime without giving notice to anybody. You control the hazard by matching the brake. But others at your back, they did not control it because they were feeling this man is just too slow. He's just too slow in his driving. So they ram into you. So for electric hazard, once electrical hazard has been recognized and evaluated, they must be controlled. So how do you control electrical hazard? First, you must create a safe work environment. You must create a safe work environment and also use safe work practice. You must create a safe work environment and use safe work practice. If your supervisor asks you to go and do electrical work inside the rain, can you do an electrical work inside the rain? No, you can't do an electrical work inside the rain because the environment is not conducive for you. Electricity and rain does not go together. You have been able to recognize it as what? An hazard. And you have been able to evaluate it that this thing can shock me. So the thing you do is what? You control it, okay? That working environment is not conducive for me to work. Or somebody has to go and climb ladder, to go and change something when it's about to rain. You say, okay, it's about to rain, no? It's about to rain. This rain can come down anytime. You have been able to what? Recognize it as an hazard. That electricity and rain are not what? Are not friendly. You now evaluate it. I can't climb up, but this rain can start anytime. So the best option is to control it. Controlling it, okay? Is either you give me query. It's good for me to take query and me losing my life. So you have been able to work to control it. The second one, use safe work practice. Use safe work practice. If you are prone to, you are sweating, you are somebody that normally sweats very well, and they ask you to go and do an electrical work, and you are sweating, you will not use rubber gloves because you are prone to what? To electrical hazard as well as other hazard is for you to reduce injury or reduce death. So let's give an example of how to recognize an hazard, how to evaluate it, and how to what? Control it. And there is a term called job hazard analysis. JHA. Job hazard analysis. JHA. Job hazard analysis. Every job has its hazard. Every job has its effect. So how do you control the effect of a job? Mr. Olabode, your noise is disturbing us. Olabode. So how do you do a job hazard analysis? I'm giving you an example of a job hazard analysis. They ask the electrician to change a word ground fault circuit interpreter. or interrupter. You know that thing they normally use for electricity? That is the job he was given to change. So the task is first remove the cover. When you are going to remove a cover of an electrical interrupter or a circuit breaker, what do? The next thing is for you to what? Recognize the hazard. The hazard is electrical shock from exposed live wire can what? Can cause problem. The job is to remove or change. If you want to change an electrical socket, if you want to change a circuit breaker, you have to remove the old one. Abi, the first thing is for you to remove the old one. So in removing the old one, he knew that what? Electrical shock can come from exposed wire. So how do you control it? De-energize by opening circuit breaker or remove the fuse. So he was able to do what? To control it by what? De-energize. You go and remove it from the power source. Or you remove the circuit breaker or you remove the fuse so that current will not pass into it. Removing the old GFCI or removing the old circuit breaker. Even when you want to remove the old circuit breaker, there's problem that live wire may open. There's probability that live wire may open. So the next thing is that don't feel because you have removed the circuit breaker or you have removed the fuse, there's no current in it. No, don't do that. The next thing you do, you test the wire. You use a tester to test the wire and confirm that what? I have removed the circuit, I have de-energized it totally. Some people, they will remove the fuse, remove the circuit breaker, and the thing will still have live wire. And they will not use their teeth to peel the wire, and they will now die. So when you are removing the old one, try to test whether there is live wire in it. So when you are installing the new wire, the new circuit breaker, the next thing is you check whether the connection of the wire is correct. You evaluate whether the connection of the wire is correct. And how do you do that? Check wiring diagram to ensure proper connection. Why? Because if there are no proper connection, you may want to test it. You may want to test it before you cover it, and there can be spark. And when there is spark, it will cause injury, it will cause harm. But when you check the wire and you see that everything is okay, now you replace the cover and you now turn the electricity on. So when you turn the electricity on, you now test it, whether it is working properly or it's not working properly. That is a job hazard analysis for what? For changing a fuse or changing a ground fault interrupter. But most of us will not do that. We don't follow the step. We don't follow the step by step. We don't follow the step by step that we are given. So recognizing an hazard, how do you recognize an hazard? The first step towards protecting yourself is recognize the many hazards you face on the job. To do this, you must know what situation can place you in danger. Know where to look for help as you recognize the hazard. If you are doing a particular job, you must be able to know the kind of hazard associated with that job. That is the first important thing for you. Nobody leaves his house to go to work and say, I want to go to work and go and die. Nobody leaves his house to go to work and say, I'm going to work today, I want to go and die. No. So the next thing for you to do is what? Recognize all the hazard that you are prone to. So how do you recognize an hazard in electrical job? Identify wiring that is dangerous. If they ask you to come and repair an electrical work, you are not the one that installed the electrical wire. So don't have the confidence that the person that installed it did it. Always make sure that the person did do the wrong thing. Don't ever assume that the work is correct. So inadequate wiring is dangerous. Check if the wiring is good. Exposed electrical parts are also very dangerous. Overhead power lines are dangerous. Wires with bad insulation can give you a shock. So check whether it is properly insulated before you start working. Electrical system and tools that are not grounded or double insulated are also dangerous. Some houses, people don't even do grounding again. They don't do grounding. They don't earth their house. They don't earth their work. And when you want to go there, earthing will cause problem. And some people overload. Somebody will go and buy 1,500 naira sockets. Buy 1,500 naira socket. We will put fridge there, put television, put stabilizer, put everything on one socket. And you are working, you did not recognize that the man has already overloaded his electrical socket. And the light will trigger and it will cause harm to you. Using the wrong PPE is also dangerous. If you want to use personal protective equipment, make sure that the personal protective equipment you are using is the right one. Make sure that the personal protective equipment you are using is the right one. It's better not to carry out the job than using a wrong PPE or a PPE that is very bad. Some sites, some on-site chemicals are also harmful. Some on-site chemicals are also harmful. There are some chemicals that are on site that are very, very dangerous. I'll give you an example. Every one of us listen to, we watched the video of the incident that happened in Lebanon. The incident that happened in Lebanon. That kind of incident is something that occurs in Nigeria. If you go to Ojota there, you see a lot of people storing a lot of chemicals in Ojota. They store chemical in Ojota where they sell, and they store it in inappropriate way. If you go to their store, they will connect wire together, connect anything together. That spark can explode the chemical. Similar things that happen in Lebanon can also happen. That is an example of how God has been protecting us in Nigeria. Electrical hazard can be made worse if the workers' location and equipment are wet. Don't ever carry out electrical work in a wet environment. Don't ever carry out electrical work in what? In a wet environment. Electricity and water does not go together. Don't do it. Let's look at a case study. An electrician was removing a metal fish tape from a hole at the base of a metal light pole. You know, fish tape are that thing they normally use to remove wire from a conduit. You know, conduits are wire that runs inside pipe. So there's a fish tape that they normally use to draw the wire out. The fish tape became energized, electrocuting in. As a result of it, the inspection team carry out and find out that what really happened. A fish tape is an equipment that is used, that are meant to be used to be safe. However, the guy used it and it caused his death. What happened? The de-energizing or circuit before the work. Always log out and tag out the energized equipment. Company must train workers to recognize and avoid unsafe conditions associated with works. They asked the guy to go and change the guy just went the wire. He didn't check whether there is current on the wire or there is no current on the wire. He did not log it out or he did not tag it out. Why? Because he was not trained that if you want, before you carry out any electrical work, you must what? De-energize it, and that is a fish tape. That is a fish tape. Can we all look at the video? Can we all look at this picture? I'm trying to unmute some people that I have muted. This handheld standard as exposed wire and should not be used. Who can show me where the wire is exposed? Who can tell us where the wire is exposed?
At the top.
At the top.
This is it.
You can see
at the top. Yes, sir.
You can see that the wire is exposed at the top.
Yes, sir.
But if somebody wants to use this equipment and did not check that place very well, what will happen? It will cause an electrical shock.
Yes,
It will cause an electrical shock and lead to
yes, sir.
Let's look at another case study. 5 workers were constructing a chain link fence in front of a house, directly below a 7,200 volt energized power line. As they prepare to install the 21-foot section of the metal top rail, one of the workers picked up a section of the rail. The rail connected the 7,200 volt line, and the workers were what? Electrocuted. What happened here? What happened here? Oh? Hello, class.
Yes, sir.
What happened here? Can you recognize? Can you understand what's happened there? They are constructing a fence. They are constructing a fence. The fence is a wire mesh fence. However, the fence they are constructing is under a high tension. It's under a high tension. And they are using a ladder. The ladder they are using to construct.
The
someone is disturbing us there now.
The ladder they are using to walk is also metal. What happened? Immediately they carry the ladder up. The ladder gets connected to the high tension. The man died what? And gets electrocuted immediately. What did they not do? They did not do hazard identification. They did not do what? Hazard identification. Let me show you the. You can see the picture.
No, sir.
You can see the picture, Abi?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The man is trying to do a wire fence. However, the wire fence is being constructed is under a high tension. And he needs to carry a pole. The pole is carrying is also metal. He should have calculated the length of the pole, of the metal pole he wants to work. He wants to carry. To use, whether it will touch the high tension or it will not touch the high tension. But unfortunately, because he did not recognize his environment, he did not carry out hazard analysis. He did not look at his environment. This pole that I want to carry, will it touch this thing or it will not touch this thing? That was what led to the man's death. So it is important for us to always what? Recognize our environment, identify the hazard, recognize it, evaluate it, and what? Control it. The man's inability to identify, recognize this thing cause is what? Is death. In this case, the company failed to obey rules. Employer must train their workers to recognize and avoid unsafe conditions on the job. Employer must allow their workers to work must not allow their worker to work near any part of an electrical circuit unless the circuit is what? De-energized. Okay. Even if they want to work, there is nothing bad in calling the electrical company to help them to switch off the light. Please, so we want to install something around this thing, and the metal we want to carry will touch the electricity. Please help us to work to energize the light. Can you see the extension cable cord?
Yes, sir.
Cord?
Yes, sir.
What happened to it?
The broke.
Eh? The extension cord is damaged. You look at where the black
The
line
black
is
spot.
damaged.
It's got it
That black spot, yes.
That black spot
damages.
show that it is damaged.
Damage.
So if somebody is coming now and that extension cord is on, if somebody mash it,
That's the body electrocuted.
it can work. It can get
It can be
electrocuted. But immediately you are coming and you look at that black spot, every other place is yellow, and you see it is black. What did you do? You have been able to recognize the what? The hazard. Immediately you recognize the hazard, this thing can cause a shock. You now go and get a tape and what? A tape that, because you have been able to do what? You have been able to control the hazard. Overload hazard. Overload sockets are one of the major causes of fire. You can see. There are other points, so they can plug it, but they decided to plug everything at one particular point. If there is a spark here, what will happen? Fire accident will occur. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do a recap for those who join us late.
Thank you, sir. I have finished.
For those who join us late, we still have some minutes. We have 10 minutes, so let's quickly run through it. So today, load. The computer is fumbling. So today we are talking about overview of safety mode. Overview of safety mode. How do you work in a safe environment? There are 3 stages by which you work in a safe environment. The first thing is to recognize the hazard, evaluate the hazard, and what? Control the hazard. Recognize, evaluate, and what? Control the hazard. So in every job you do, you recognize the hazard, you evaluate the hazard, and what? You control the hazard. You can follow the PowerPoint with you. Thereafter, I gave an example of job hazard analysis. How do you carry out a job hazard analysis? You carry out a job hazard analysis by doing what? By checking a stage by stage. Job hazard analysis is carried out by doing what? By recognizing hazard at every stage of the work you want to do. Example is they want to change a circuit breaker or a ground fault circuit interrupter. They remove the cover. If you remove the cover, if you just go straight and remove the cover without removing it from electricity, you get shocked. You get shocked. So when you are removing the old one, before you change it, you must test the wire, whether it is safe or it is not safe. So in protecting yourself, you must recognize the hazard. And how do you recognize hazard? Check for inadequate wiring, check for exposed parts that are dangerous, check for overhead power lines, check if the wire is well insulated or not, check if there is overload. Don't use wrong PPE. Check if there are some chemicals available on site that can explode or that can cause dangerous things. I gave an example of a case study of a worker who was working with a metal fish tape, but he did not know that the metal fish tape is defective. So, and he got electrocuted. I also show you to recognize the hazard here, and also gave a case study of a worker who is working, who is doing a fence under a high tension, but because he was unable to recognize, identify or do a case study of his environment, it led to his death. So the first thing is, before you carry out any work, look around and see what can cause me, what can cause an injury to me, what can lead to death, what can cause problem for me. And he didn't do that. He carried out the ladder up and he got electrocuted. We were able to check the defective item there. So the first thing, before you do anything, recognize the hazard. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Any question? Any question? No question. Okay. I did not see my meat.
Well,
So you know I will ask you. I
Yes,
expect
sir.
you
No,
to
sir.
send my meat home. You did not send my meat.
Okay, lockdown.
Lockdown.
Lockdown, lock
There is
the meat.
question, sir.
Sure,
There is
okay.
question, sir.
I'm listening, sir.
There is question, sir.
Listening.
In the paper, in the memo you sent yesterday or thereabout, instead of overview of the safety mode, you, according to what you see, is an overview of safety model in the handout.
Yeah. You correct it.
Is it model or mode?
It's model. It's model. It can be model. It can be mode. But what's supposed
Okay,
to be
sir.
is
Okay,
mode.
sir. Okay, sir.
You get it now?
Thank you, sir.
Overview
Yes,
of
sir. Yes, sir.
safety
Because I've
mode.
printed it. I've printed it already.
Okay. You know, sometimes we use both English and American.
Yes.
Don't mind us in Nigeria. We do follow. We do
Both
follow.
Portuguese English and American English.
We do follow too much. Okay, so we'll see.
Okay, sir.
4 o'clock.
Again, 4 o'clock. Yes, sir.
But, Professor, hello, sir.
Yes, sir, I'm listening.
Yes, sir. The 4 o'clock class, I don't know how to know clash. I saw the post of Professor Ada also taking the same time, 4 o'clock.
Why?
I don't know, maybe the governor or I think deputy is online now. If they need to have a kind of discussion with the lecturer so that the time will not be clashing, sir.
But the lecturer in question, see this post in that same platform before he sent his own.
Yes.
So we're going to talk to him
Yes,
immediately after this
about-
lecture. Personally, I'm going to talk to him.
Maybe the governor can try to mediate to just.
I will personally to talk to him
Okay,
that he should check the post, the platform.
Yeah, what I agree with him is that he will take the MSc. He will take the MSc by 4.
Okay.
By 4, why I'm taking you. So by the time I finish, by the time I finish with you, I will take the MSc by 5.
And he will come back.
Maybe he didn't. Is it sent on our platform?
Okay, it's interchangeable.
That's how we did it. That's how we did it before we stopped now.
You understand? Yes.
Yeah, I normally take because we've started with NAFRIC. We started with NAFRIC. Even also, I'll be taking the lecture in the morning. But we have started with our lecture with NAFRIC. So we were there in the morning. I was in NAFRIC this morning. Immediately I finished my lecture in NAFRIC, he came in. I started my lecture in NAFRIC from 8. I stopped by 10. So he will take it from 10 to around 12. So we've discussed it. So I will start BSc from 3 to 5. So while I'm taking the BSc, he will be taking the MSc. So immediately I finish.
Okay.
Immediately I finish. How many classes is it taking you people?
I've not attended any of his classes.
He has not even started.
It's
So
only
if
one.
Many a time it doesn't connect.
So even
It's one. He's taking us only one subject.
two people
But
will
he has
Doesn't
never
connect most of the
connected.
time.
So we read it through WhatsApp. We only listen
Exactly.
through WhatsApp. It's never connected.
Okay.
Exactly. We just burn data for 30 or 40 minutes before we just get
Okay,
tired.
Your own good. I spend 1 hour waiting for him, sending messages.
Okay, don't worry. Let's try.
If not 30 minutes.
Let's
If not
try.
30 minutes, you do Alaroro.
It's okay. They will talk.
Let's try.
They will talk to him. They will talk to him.
Let's try and resolve it. He will start taking MSc from 4 to 5, and I will take the second class. So immediately we finish.
It's okay.
Oh, it's all right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, sir.
See you by 4.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.